Okay, good morning. Today I'm in Athens. This is going to be a slightly different episode because, as you can tell, it's going to be a little bit vlog style. We are going to visit the world's first ever computer. And this is so much cooler than what you might think right now. And if you're coming to Athens, you need to add this video to your list. Forget the most important thing. Okay, the first thing I want to really tell you about this thing is that it's found in the National Archaeological Museum, which is not the Parthenon or the Acropolis Museum, which is what most people visit while in Athens, but it's in a completely different part of the town. In my opinion, it's the most important museum to visit while in Athens, and there's more than one reason why. I'll show you. The weirdest thing about the story is that a device of this kind would only be discovered and developed again in the 16th century with the first astronomical clocks. But the real story starts with a group of sponge divers.
But our story doesn't start in Athens. It starts right over here, off the coast of a remote little Greek island known as Antikythera. The year is 1900, and a group of sponge divers is diving off very close to the coast. Suddenly, one of them returns up to the boat, saying something is looking back at him, and that there's things jutting out of the sand. However, the captain of the ship is intrigued, and when they dive again at a depth of 60 meters, they manage to recover this, the bronze statue of a youth that was recovered from a shipwreck that they found on this day. They immediately alert the authorities, as they know there's hundreds of other items hiding in the shipwreck. In the months following, multiple more dives will be carried out, as the Minister of Education and Antiquities takes a special interest in the shipwreck. The dating of the shipwreck, around 75 BC, coincides with one of the most highly significant shipwrecks of the period. They believe these treasures might have been destined to be in Julius Caesar's court, but both media and archaeologists of the time were missing the biggest treasure. While everyone was excited about the bronze statues, the glassware, the vases, and of course all the coins, there was this unassuming hunk of bronze, which they immediately assume is of secondary importance, that would end up rewriting history.
Συγγνώμη, εισιτήρια που βγάζουμε. Γεια σας. Ένα εισιτήριο για το μουσείο?
Είναι 12 Μήπως είστε κάτω το 25?
Όχι. Thank you so much. Okay, I thought they had actually closed the door, but we're still on business. Okay, this is literally so hard to get to. I've had to ask 2 separate people. I don't think I can see them.
Even if you're not a technology nerd and don't want to see the Antikythera mechanism, this museum is full of treasures. Starting off, you'll see the fury mask of Agamemnon. Yep, the guy that started the Trojan War, and his wife Helen. The girl was pretty famous, let's be honest. There's all the artifacts from the islands that date all the way back to almost 4000 BC. It is insane to consider how long they have survived for, and the art history is absolutely incredible. I was starting to think that this was not my lucky day because big parts of the museum were still being renovated, but after asking one more person, they pointed to a door that looked like it was going through some sort of construction area, and before I knew it, I saw this. To understand the importance of the Antikythera mechanism, you have to consider that this was its first home, right below the Acropolis Hill, but for almost 7 decades, we knew nothing of this. We just had 82 fragments sitting at a museum, waiting to be understood. The first real breakthrough happens in 1951, when a Yale University professor, Derek Price, becomes incredibly interested. Together with the Greek nuclear physicist Charalambos Karakas, they petitioned the Greek government to allow them to X-ray the mechanism in order to be able to observe it from the inside out. And in 1971, almost 20 years later, they succeed. They published their first paper in 1974, and the scientific community is absolutely divided on their findings. The Antikythera mechanism was able to calculate the positions of the sun, moon, and the known planets at the time, lunar phases and eclipses, track the calendar cycle, and even indicate the dates of the Olympic Games. Scientists believe that there were over 70 other uses for this incredible clock. The way this mystery was all discovered was from those little inscriptions. These are instructions for how to use this mechanism that partially survived, that scientists were able to start putting together piece by piece how this mechanism would have worked. There were 2 problems. You see, ancient Greeks were very wrong about the most basic things of astronomy, including the fact that they believed in a geocentric world, meaning that all the planets are moving around the Earth. They also didn't know that the planets had elliptical orbits, meaning that the motion of planets was not a perfect circle, but more of a squished oval. However, they had noticed that the motions of the planets were not uniform, and they combined different circular paths, calling them epicircles and deferents. All of this was translated into over 40 gears inside this clock that was functioning on false pretenses, but was calculating accurately solar and lunar eclipses, the movement of planets in the sky, and so much more. Initially, when you see the Antikythera mechanism, feeling that its original discoverers probably got and thought that it was just a hunk of bronze. But the more you look at it, the more you realize how incredibly delicate and complex it was.